Before we get into today's video, I want to hear from you guys down in the comments section. I want you to grade Alabama's linebacker room A, B, C, D, or F. We're going to be breaking down the entire room, the middle linebackers as well as that wolf position. But I want to hear from you guys. Grade Alabama's linebacker room down in the comments section. All right, Alabama's linebacker room going into 2025. I think the biggest thing, the most positive thing about this linebacker room is the experience that you're going to get from these guys next year. Justin Jefferson, he got granted that extra year of eligibility. Deontae Lawson said he was going to go off to the NFL draft had he not gotten hurt. Nikhai Hill-Green is another guy who's got like 4 years of playing experience as well. Qua Russaw and Jah-Marien Latham both at that wolf position. We saw the flashes last year from Qua Russaw, and then Jah-Marien Latham mainly played that bandit position, but the need was there, and they asked him to come back for his last season of eligibility, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's like his 5th or 6th season here with Alabama. So, the experience is going to be a really big thing for Alabama. Obviously, you lost guys like Jeremiah Alexander and Justin Okoronkwo to the transfer portal. I think Jeremiah Alexander, that one, kind of sucked because he was kind of the next guy up. And with Deontae Lawson coming back, Justin Jefferson coming back, just wasn't really a spot for him this year. And at the end of the day, he wants to play, and I totally get that from him. Justin Okoronkwo was a freshman last year. You want guys to be able to stick around and develop, but it is what it is there. He's off to South Carolina. When you talk about the experience as well, look at the snap counts here, man. Justin Jefferson, over 400 snaps in college football, which that does not include his JUCO snaps as well. If you guys remember, he played a couple of years in JUCO as well. But Deontae Lawson, Nikhai Hill-Green, both of those guys, over 1,600 career snaps in, I guess let's just call it Division I college football, because obviously the Justin Jefferson with the JUCO stuff there. And then obviously Qua Russaw last year, really his first year getting playing time for Alabama. And then Jah-Marien Latham, over 800 snaps for him as well. So definitely not going to lack both leadership and experience from this Alabama linebacker room. And Kaitlin DeBoer talked about that as well, kind of talking about, what they expected to have at the linebacker spot, going into last season. You got that envisioned, a year in advance. This is what he said. He said that group all of a sudden went from what we envisioned this year, probably being a little bit more youthful with some new faces, all of a sudden being rock solid group that we're really counting on to lead the charge at linebacker. How can you not love that? And these are going to be your 3 starters at that linebacker spot. I'm still a little bit nervous. I'm not even going to lie about Deontae Lawson coming back from that knee injury. They said it was a really bad knee injury, but at the same time, Kane Wommack also said a couple of months ago that, things have been going pretty well for Deontae Lawson. I thought last year as well, one thing that Deontae Lawson was getting a whole lot better at was being able to play in coverage as well. I thought he was a really, really good run defender, in 2022 and 2023, but he really did step it up, I thought, in 2024. Obviously, ends up getting injured. I believe that was the Oklahoma game that he ended up going out, and, I just hope that he's going to be able to return to form that, he was really, every single year, you see it right there, he was getting better and better and better in tackles, more tackles every single year. TFLs, more TFLs every single year. I think he probably would have gotten more than 2 sacks last year had he played the last couple of games as well. But Deontae Lawson, hopefully coming back, can be, at least that same guy that he was. And Nikhai Hill-Green, this was a big pickup for Alabama out of the transfer portal as well. He's got a ton of playing experience as well. Started his career out at Michigan, then ends up going to Charlotte. I believe he was all conference while he was there as well. And then ends up playing for Colorado and Coach Prime last year and had an incredible year for them as well. 12 TFLs. That's really solid. So I think just going into this year, he's probably going to be that linebacker 3 for Alabama, you're going to have Justin Jefferson and Deontae Lawson, but then Nikhai Hill-Green's kind of going to be that third guy in there. And then Justin Jefferson, I mean, what can you say about this guy? I thought last year he played really, really well. Speed is my favorite thing, I think, about Justin Jefferson. Just watching him fly all around the field. He's got that sideline-to-sideline ability, but then I also thought he also did a very good job in coverage as well. So hopefully, that's something in the past couple of years that Alabama's linebackers kind of struggled a little bit with. I thought Jihad Campbell did a really good job last year, and Justin Jefferson did as well. And my big thing for Deontae Lawson last year was to get a little bit better in that coverage aspect, and I thought he did that as well. So let me know down here at the pinned comment of today's video, are you guys worried about Deontae Lawson coming back from that pretty bad knee injury last year? I'm not worried. I am definitely a little bit nervous about it, but I want to hear from you guys down at the pinned comment of today's video. Are you worried about Deontae Lawson coming back from that injury? Type Y for yes or N for no. All right, we've been kind of bringing up these PFF rankings and everything like that. I think it's fun to look at. They have Alabama right now ranked as the number 8 linebacker unit in the country, and really don't have any problems with it. You see a team like Pitt up there, and you're like, Pitt, really? Number 3? They've got 2 really good players at linebacker that could go first, second round of the NFL draft. LSU got some dogs up there. Texas is one of the best rosters in the country as well. So I don't really have a problem with Alabama's, ranking there. We're just going to see how things play out because Deontae Lawson coming back from that injury, just going to have to see if he's going to end up being the same guy he has been the past couple of seasons. This is what Pro Football Focus said about Alabama's linebacker room. It said Alabama lost a first-round pick at linebacker in Jihad Campbell, but they still have another stud patrolling the middle of their defense in Deontae Lawson. My number 7 linebacker in America has 8 pass breakups since 2023, tied for the most among all returning linebackers in college football. His 56 run stops in that same span stand third among returning linebacker or power 4 linebackers. Justin Jefferson is also back for his senior year after posting a 69.7, nice, Pro Football Focus grade on 422 snaps last season. Alabama also added Colorado linebacker Nikhai Hill-Green from the transfer portal, who tied for 8th among Power 4 linebackers with 53 defensive stops last season. Funny thing kind of about that paragraph there is Justin Jefferson's senior season with last year, he actually got granted that waiver for an extra year of eligibility after the old Diego Pavia stuff. So I guess thank you to Pavia for granting Justin Jefferson that extra year of eligibility, or at least fighting for it in the courts. All right, we'll continue here in just a second, but you guys can get this Alabama quarter zip today just by going to chatsports.com/Bama QTR zip. It's Bama QTR zip, stands for quarter zip, obviously. The good thing about, buying some of these long sleeve jackets and things like that during the summertime, they are always on sale. It was $90, now on sale right now for only $55. So you guys can get that today just by going to chatsports.com/Bama QTR zip. I'll put that link down in the comment section and the description of today's video. All right, now let's kind of transition here and start talking about some of the backups that Alabama has. I think I was a little bit nervous, going into the springtime in terms of what Alabama has at, the backup spots at the middle linebacker spot. Caden Jones, QB Reese, I thought they got a lot of buzz during the springtime. Kalen DeBoer saying QB Reese is a guy that is out here directing traffic. He had a really good spring as well. So, and then you got the freshman guys, Abdul Sanders, Duke Johnson, Luke Metz, that you signed in that 2025 recruiting class, and those guys aren't scrubs either. Kalen DeBoer talking about those guys here, saying Abdul Sanders, Luke Metz, Duke Johnson, all 3 of them have been making plays out there, running sideline to sideline. That's one thing that they do best. I'm really proud of the way those guys have just taken the bull by the horns and rolled with it. And like I said, these guys absolutely are not scrubs. We're going to throw Justin Hill in there as well, even though he plays that Wolf position. We'll talk about the Wolves here in just a second. But Duke Johnson, top 200 player there. Luke Metz, top 300 player. Abdul Sanders, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he got injured, in either his senior or his junior season, kind of dropped a little bit there in the recruiting rankings. But I think there's, when you're looking at the future of that linebacker spot, Alabama really got some dogs there at that position group, and I'm really, really excited to see what those guys can do in the future. Hopefully they stick around for the future here with Alabama, because after this season, that middle linebacker spots, those spots are going to be up for grabs. So there's going to be a lot of competition there for those guys, and maybe even guys in that 2026 class as well. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. If you are a die-hard fan like I am, we talk Alabama football pretty much every single day here on the channel. I've been a fan pretty much since I came out of the womb. So help me out. Make sure you guys hit that sub button for me. It's youtube.com/@RollTideTV. All right, let's switch over and talk about this Wolf position a little bit as well. Obviously, Jah-Marien Latham this year is going to be playing that Wolf spot. I thought he did a pretty damn good job last year playing that bandit role, but going into this season, there was a need for Alabama at that Wolf spot, and they asked Jah-Marien Latham to come back for another season, which is going to end up being like his 5th or 6th season now with Alabama. It's kind of hilarious. But really, this is only going to be his second season, kind of second and a half season, really getting legitimate playing time. And, this really happened. He started playing that Wolf position after Deontae Lawson ended up getting injured, and there was some other guys banged up there as well, and they just needed somebody to play that position. This is what Kane Wommack said last year about Jah-Marien Latham moving to that Wolf spot. He said, I thought Jah-Marien being able to move over to the Wolf in 1 week based off some of the injuries that we had, Deontae Lawson being a little bit banged up, did a great job in the week of practice and played really well in the game. There are some similarities in the bandit and wolf positions, but there are also some very staunch differences. I thought he did a very nice job of making those adjustments throughout the week, then really was fairly consistent in his execution on game day, so very proud of him, and we appreciate that. And I thought, going back to last year, I thought the best thing that Jah-Marien Latham was really, really good at was just being a really good run defender, whether that was being on the edge. It's kind of weird how Alabama uses their defensive line. It really doesn't matter where you are playing on this Alabama defense. There's a chance you could be playing in a different spot on any different, down in, down out. Kane Wommack loves to use these guys in different ways. And then Qua Russaw as well, being there at that Wolf spot, man, I think this guy is really poised for a breakout season. I thought we saw a ton of flashes from him last year, had a couple of interceptions, dropping back in pass protection. I think just finishing is going to be his big key this year. Kane Wommack has talked about that. We've gone over that as well in the past, but man, Qua Russaw, he's a dog. I cannot wait to see what he does for Alabama this season. This is kind of what Kane Wommack said about different guys in different Wolf packages. He actually said this, I believe it was before last season, but the same thing pretty much still applies here. He said, I think they all have versatile skill sets that we're going to be able to utilize in different ways, schematically, personnel groupings that we have on the field. You may see multiple of those guys at different times in the game, depending on the different situations. Their ability to do multiple things from a mental standpoint and from a physical standpoint will allow us to utilize them in a number of different ways. So I think just, overall looking at this linebacker room going into the 2025 season, I think, hopefully nobody goes down. Deontae Lawson, hopefully he can come back and be the player that he was. But if he's not, if there is an injury, I think you have a lot of confidence going into the season with Cayden Jones and QB Reese there at that backup spot. They got a lot of buzz throughout the springtime. And then Yhonzae Pierre, a guy that we really didn't touch on much, really the Wolves, the backups at that Wolf spot. Kevonte Henry started his career out at Oklahoma, then ended up going to JUCO, and then comes now back to Alabama. He was injured during the spring, so there's a little bit of a setback from him there. But, Justin Hill is another guy that I think when it comes to Wolf 3, it's either going to be Yhonzae Pierre or Justin Hill. I would like to see it be Yhonzae Pierre just because he's been in the program for longer. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be best player plays. Same with Noah Carter as well. Just going to depend on how different things shake up. And hopefully, football is a very violent sport. Hopefully nobody ends up going down. But I think you can be, pretty confident in Alabama's linebacker room going into next season.